Joe? Joe?
Where am I?
Well, you left a little bit more than a year ago. What happened? Where did you go?
I just remember I went outside and I thought I saw Hendrik Hudson playing 9-ball with some people, and they had this drink and I tasted it. It tasted like Hollands. I remember the flavor of the juniper berries, and I got really tired and I laid down. It feels like I was asleep for like 20 years. How long was I gone?
A little bit more than a year?
Huh?
Yeah, your hair and...
This oddly reminds me of something. Joy.
Yeah?
You want to go on an adventure?
Let's go.
Alright, let's go. Hey over there, Joe Lunchbox.
And Joy Nightingale.
And today, what we're actually going to do is we're going to land up in the Hudson Valley of New York, because we're going to actually go visit my old friend. See, when I was sleeping out there, it reminded me of him, one of his stories he wrote. So I figured, let's go talk to him. He can tell you about it. So we're going to go upstate and visit my friend Washington Irving.
Joe?
Yeah?
He's dead.
Wait, Washington Irving died last year while I was asleep?
No, silly. He died in 1859.
Oh, my bad. So how about we drive upstate, we'll go to Sleepy Hollow, and we'll go see Washington Irving's grave instead.
That sounds great.
All right, so yeah, we might make a few other stops about him, but I think that's a good plan for today. So, step right up.
Wait. Let's buckle up.
Oh! And then we'll go for this ride. And we're off. You all might have been wondering why I was dressed like this, the star of this video, and the whole bit waking me up. Well, it's because my favorite Washington Irving story is actually the one of Rip Van Winkle. So we stopped in the town of Irvington to look at this life-size statue of him. Irvington, named after Washington Irvington, the town. This statue was here in 2004, but I like an interesting fact, in 2019, since being a Boy Scout, an Eagle Scout named Cameron maintained this area for his Eagle Scout project. I find that cool. And I do like Rip Van Winkle after he woke up after his 20-year nap. You can see they actually even put like his gun that was nice, and it's all rusted. Nature took over it. His beard's a little more full than mine, but it's a cool little start to this video today. Find the statue of my friend Rip Van Winkle, but we're gonna go to seeing more famous stuff like Sleepy Hollow, since most of you know the legend of Sleepy Hollow. Probably more than Rip Van Winkle, but if you don't know about Rip Van Winkle, look into him. Commissioned by the Irvington Chamber of Commerce in 2001, this monument of Washington Irving's world-renowned folklore character was made possible by donations from over 250 citizens and friends of Irvington. It's cool that the town came together to make this monument. Go back to sleep, buddy. We won't bother you. Don't worry. I won't tell anyone. At the very end of the town of Irvington is actually another monument to Washington Irving. This one has his bust in the center to the left, another literary figure, and to the right, my old pal Rip Van Winkle. A cool thing about this monument is it was actually built by sculptor Daniel Chester French. If that name sounds familiar, he's also the sculptor that sculpted Lincoln for the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. And if you are looking for this monument, it's at the edge of town. We're in Irvington right now, and on the other side is Terrytown. And it's down the road from Sunnyside, which was Washington Irving's home. Sadly, it's reopening in May. We couldn't go there today. Another day.
Welcome to Sleepy Hollow.
Now come get murdered by the Headless Horseman. Wahaha. Usually welcome signs are like more friendly. I like it though. So a little north of the town Irvington we were in, you take Route 9 north, you go through Terrytown, you get to the town of Sleepy Hollow actually, which is the legend of Sleepy Hollow, written by Washington Irving. I love this town. It's a town that actually adopted the name based off the story, and they really embrace that history of the legend of Sleepy Hollow. If you look behind me, we have this giant sculpture of the Headless Horseman chasing down Ichabod Crane, about to throw his head. You see Ichabod racing to try to get over the bridge. He thinks Headless Horseman's going to disappear in a thing of fire, but if you read the story, you know how it really ends. We never hear of Ichabod Crane again. Some people said the horseman took him. Others say he's teaching somewhere far away from Sleepy Hollow, but we never really know. It's a cool statue though. I love the different layers of steel are a cool effect, making it look 3D.
And here we have another monument that Sleepy Hollow put up for, obviously, their Headless Horseman.
Yep, definitely see Ichabod Crane being chased by the Headless Horseman. You have to remember, Ichabod Crane in the story, he just borrowed that horse to go to a party at, he was hoping it was going to be his girlfriend's house, well, her parents' house. And that was this old beat-up horse, and he was trying to outrun the Headless Horseman on some old beat-up horse. Still had some spark in its one good eye, but Headless Horseman looked pretty fast to me in that, doesn't it to you, Joy?
It does. Looks like the horse is just gonna...
Yeah. And you can see what's interesting is, like I said, the town of Sleepy Hollow wasn't always Sleepy Hollow. That's why on the bottom this monument it says presented to village of North Terrytown, because Sleepy Hollow was once North Terrytown. It's cool.
It is.
I like this town embraces all this Headless Horseman culture.
Oh no, especially during the Halloween time.
Yeah, they always do have some haunted stuff or some storytelling stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff around Halloween time here.
Yeah.
We're here in more warmer weather, but still wanted to come up and show it with you. Even the street signs here have the Headless Horseman on it. Joy, as I see you standing on the Headless Horseman Bridge, wearing your pumpkin dress there, are you a fan?
Totally am.
So you're a fan of the Headless Horseman, not Ichabod Crane?
I like pumpkins.
I see what you mean. It's a long way down. Actually, it's not that far. It's shallow though. You wouldn't be a good idea to jump off the bridge, but I mean, maybe if it was be attacked by a Headless Horseman or go over the bridge, I might choose over the bridge, but I don't know. I think my companion looks a lot nicer than a Headless Horseman, personally. One thing I think so cool about it is that, like, there's even, like, New York State Headless Horseman bridge signs, like, as if the legend was real, that they embraced it. Like, if you look over here, this is what they are saying is the Headless Horseman Bridge. This bridge isn't back then. This is built, though, where a wood bridge would have been. Well, a wood bridge actually was, that would take you to, if you pan this way with me, Joy. So there's the Old Dutch Church. That was here back then, and it was the bridge that would take Ichabod Crane in the story to the Old Dutch Church. Actually was the bridge that people in this town would use to cross that wood bridge. He just based that bridge in his legend. But I think it's really cool that the Headless Horseman Bridge, you actually could come and walk over the Headless Horseman Bridge, but we're gonna actually find another wood bridge in the town of Sleepy Hollow, hopefully, that we're gonna be able to show you. It's a little more what people would picture the Headless Horseman Bridge to look like. So we're gonna actually head into that Old Dutch Church now and look for good old Washington Irving's grave. Share that with you. Another view of the bridge. Can you picture it? Can you imagine riding your horse being chased by the Headless Horseman? It's like we were saying when we were on the bridge. People say that there's another bridge here in Sleepy Hollow that feels more like the Headless Horseman bridge. And if you are in the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, in the back, you find this bridge. And they say, as you drive over it, it sounds like the galloping of horses. Let's find out if it's true or not. Cool thing that New York State's doing now, they're putting these red signs for New York folklore. If you ever see the blue signs, show like historic things happened here. But this is legends and lore. The Headless Horseman tethered his horse nightly among graves in this churchyard, according to the legend of Sleepy Hollow author Washington Irving. He did that because he was in the grave. He'd come out nightly, ride back to Elmsford looking for his head because he lost it there, and he'd come back every morning before the sun rose, and that night he would do it again. That's the premise of what the Headless Horseman was doing. So the way this cemetery is actually set up is down this hill is the old Dutch church, and all this part on the side of this chain fence is the old Dutch church cemetery. When you come up, you hit this road. Everything on this side is actually Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, which is quite a big cemetery. And right where they connect is where we find the Irving family plot. Then we have Washington Irving, born April 3rd, 1783, died November 28th, 1859. I think it's cool that he wrote The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and now he's buried in Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, along with a bunch of people that were the inspiration for characters in that story. It's interesting as we walk through the cemetery how big some of the mausoleums are and some of the gravestones, how elaborate they are. And yes, Washington Irving is the biggest of his families right here, because this is the Irving family grave plot, but how modest it is. It really is beautiful here. The cemetery, if you do want to come walk it, be prepared. There are a lot of hills, but it is probably one of the most beautiful cemeteries I've ever been to. Right here we have Abraham Martling, who was a father, and his son Abe Martling next to him. And if you read The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, you know the adversary for Ichabod Crane is a guy that goes by Brom Bones. And Brom was the nickname of the father, and Bones was the nickname of the son. So, and if you really read the story, some people actually think Brom Bones was the Headless Horseman. Joy, can you call a plumber?
Why?
Because this shed has clogs. Get it? There's clogs nailed to the shed. I like it. If you walk from that shed with the clogs, just a little bit away from it, you come to Katrina Ecker von Tessel. And she is actually the basis of the name for the main female lead of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Female lead, is that what you call a female character? Female character in his book. And there's two sides to every story. Obviously it's the name itself came from her, but some people say the character basis came from her niece named, what was her name, Joy?
Eleanor von Tassel Brush. People like to call her Lena. But.
Okay, so we know this is where the name came from, but we're not positive if the character was based off her or her niece. But they both are buried here in the old Dutch cemetery. We'll go take a look at the niece's grave right now. Here we have Caleb Rush. This is the Rush family vault actually under here, but there we have Eleanor Van Tassel, who would have been the niece that some people say the female lead is based off of. Obviously the name is based off her aunt.
She was more the characteristic.
And that is right on the side of this old Dutch church. So an interesting fact is people say that the Headless Horseman himself was actually based off a real story. If you read the book Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Headless Horseman is also known as the Galloping Hessian of the Hollows. Now, the Hessian soldiers fought in the Revolutionary War alongside of the British. And over here, there's a legend that in the town of Elmsford, the British came in a raiding party. They were here to steal edibles. And what they would do is they'd break in, steal the edibles. Afterwards, they'd let the Hessians go in, steal anything of value. This one Hessian soldier went into one of the houses and he found a cradle with a baby. And he knew after they stole everything, the leader of this British raid party was going to burn all the houses. So he took the baby out. And with that child, he found the mother. The mother saw the house on fire, went to run in. He stopped, said, "Here's your child." And her name was Elizabeth Van Tassel with her husband Cornelius. And because they were so grateful for this Hessian soldier, a few later than that, he was in a battle. And we're not sure exactly which date it was. It was either October 28th, 1776 or November 1st, 1776. But there was a Hessian artilleryman who a cannon shot his head off, aka the Headless Horseman. And Elizabeth was so grateful for this man, she gave him actually a Christian burial here at the old Dutch church. If you look right in this empty spot here, it sort of is like a potter's field where they buried poor people and people that couldn't afford. And they say that is where the Hessian soldier that the legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Headless Horseman, is based off of. We're going to show you some more of the cemetery, some famous people here. We'll show you some other graves. It's crazy how old this cemetery is, that this tree has grown around this tombstone. It's probably been here for at least 200 years. Another cool one, I like Spencer Blaine. I like how they wrote his name into this. And also, if you enjoy seeing me enjoy, we wanted to throw this in there. We have been doing this channel for a few months now.
Mm-hmm.
We filmed for 3 years, but video's been up since about 6 months now, about 7 months.
Well.
So if you like what you're seeing in our videos, you might want to subscribe so you could watch it more, like it, comment. We're cool people.
Yep.
You could talk, we'll talk back to you. I like that thing. We were trying to build our own little community here, so welcome. So I figured, besides going to see Washington Irving, one of the mausoleums I wanted to come see is inspired. They're actually taking our good old Dodge right here to his heritage. That's right, we're here to see Walter Percy Chrysler. See, I drive a Dodge. He founded the Chrysler Company. To think it started way after Ford and General Motors, but it became one of the third big company in American car culture, or American car companies, let's say. So we figured we might as well take the van to see his grandfather, maybe? I don't know. Somehow.
Great-grandfather? Grandpa?
Yeah, some relative. My father was always a Mopar man, always Chrysler. So we got our van, we went for Chrysler, Dodge. They're part of the Chrysler Corporation, so let's check out Walter Percy Chrysler. And he also built the Chrysler Building. Like, come on, it's cool. That is some mausoleum. That's what I was saying about the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. Things are beautiful, and some of the tombs are so massive. This tree's root systems are insane. I love when you come to spots that have old growth trees. They were here way before Europeans discovered this country. Sitting right here next to Chrysler. And in one of the center, it's actually in a traffic circle here, we have William Rockefeller. A lot of people know of his brother, John Rockefeller. You ever heard of Rockefeller Center, right? Part of the Standard Oil Company. Here's a beautiful mausoleum too. But if you look right across the way, we have another beautiful one. This is going to be John Dustin Archbold, who more than 30 years, he also was associated with that Standard Oil conglomerate. I like the different styles with the domes and the metalwork and the stained glass.
His mausoleum, however way that you people want to say it, it's fine, is basically a mix of different styles, but its base is more of a Byzantine style. The dome, mosaics, and Greek imagery are nods to the Eastern Church. And the peacocks in the bronze door are an Eastern motif of eternal life.
Let's go check out those peacocks. There you can see the peacocks, and it's funny, I thought it was stained glass from far away. It's actually a mosaic over the door. Joy, it's funny. We took the van and it saw Chrysler's grave, and then we just went to Rockefeller, and Standard Oil now is ExxonMobil, and we put ExxonMobil in the van. So we went to them too.
Look at that.
See, Van, today's about you. You take us good spots. You treat us well. Here's another stunning one, Lewis. I don't have any history on this person, but as we were driving around, this one caught my eye. Try and imagine what it would look like when it was new, with the copper roof glistening and the copper gutters and leaders. We have a mausoleum that's actually built with the rocks as the background of it, so it turned the hill of it. But something cooler than that, these two people, Hugh Hill and Frederick Hill, graves are actually in the rock itself. They cored out the rock to make their grave.
They're in a hill.
Yeah, he was a scoutmaster. Anything Boy Scout related is cool to me. Yeah, hill are in a hill. At the mausoleum of Civil War General Samuel Thomas, which sadly looks like people graffitied. Don't graffiti people's tombs. But an interesting story is, when we talk about the Headless Horseman with myths and legends, this, what is it, Bronze Lady?
Bronze Lady.
Bronze Lady actually has myths and legends about her herself.
Supposedly, she comes to life and wanders the cemetery grounds at night, terrifying anybody who enters on a dare. But it gets more interesting. If you get closer to her, you'll supposedly hear her weeping. If you knock on the general's mausoleum once or 3 times, depending, I guess, on who's telling you this legend, you'll have bad dreams that night, so beware of that. If you would dare to approach and sit in her lap, she'll allegedly cry tears of blood. And then if you insult her, you will be cursed for life.
Well, we definitely don't want to be cursed for life, and I could do without bad dreams. I am intrigued with sitting in her lap with her actually crying tears of blood, but I'm not going to attempt my luck today. We just wanted to share her story and share her with you all. It's a beautiful monument. It's for the whole Villard family. The 2 people that we're going to focus on is actually going to be Henry Villard and Oswald Garrison Villard. So Joy's going to tell us about Henry Villard.
He was a German-born Heinrich Hilgard, immigrated to the United States. He angelicized his name and made a name for himself as a battlefield correspondent during Civil War. In the war's aftermath, he made a fortune brokering German investments in American railroads. He also orchestrated the combination of Edison Lamp Company and Edison Machine Works into Edison General Electric Company, forerunner of today's General Electric.
And then the interesting with Oswald Garrison Villard,
that he was an editor of the New York Evening Post and The Nation, and he was a founding member of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People and the American Civil Liberties Union.
So as we're focusing on this monument here, it makes me wonder if Henry made some of his money in the railroads, is this supposed to represent John Henry, who built the railroads? Because that's what it reminds me of. This has to be one of the coolest graves I've ever seen. It reminds me of the idea of ancient Egypt. Mummies being buried in ancient stone sarcophaguses. This woman, Elma A. Mackenzie, she's not buried in the ground. She's not buried in the side of a hill. She is just buried in a giant stone. If you look, you can see the seam above her where they have her name. In the rock, they actually cut this rock in half, and her grave is within this rock. Andrew Carnegie made all of his money mostly in the steel industry, became one of the wealthiest men in the world, then gave it all away. We have a lot of the 20 institutions he endowed their work with his philanthropy.
Joe,
Yeah?
wake up.
I'm not sleeping. I'm pretending to be dead. Huh. You know what? You wanna know why?
Why?
Tell you why. What's that old saying? How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. One day, maybe I could be buried here at Sleepy Hollow. And since I'm at Carnegie's grave, I'm practicing, I'm playing dead. Because practice makes perfect. Right?
No.
I know, no. Because we all know the truth is, I don't want to be buried here. Even though if I was to be buried, this would be beautiful. I want to be put in a giant pickle jar and be pickled. We know that. But. So there you have it. A fun day exploring the cemetery here at Sleepy Hollow and showing you some of the people's graves from Washington Irving, just some other famous people's graves and just beautiful graves here at the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. Mm-hmm. And we got to see my favorite, Rip Van Winkle's memorial, and then also some Headless Horseman nostalgia throughout the town of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
So I'd say all in all, a full day. What do you say, Joy?
I think so.
I think we could call it then.
Definitely.
All right. Legend of Sleepy Hollow and a day about Washington Irving. Been there, done that. Remember, folks, safe travels.
Good eats.
And live life. All right, Joy. Come get me like tomorrow or the next day. I'm going to go back practice being dead at Carnegie's grave some more. I got to practice. So, I know you watched the video, but you all have one question. I'm going to answer that one question for you.
What is the question?
The question everyone's asking is, did I really grow long hair and a long beard for over a year just to play Rip Van Winkle for a few seconds in the start of one of our videos? And the answer is yes. Yes. Is it foolish? Maybe. Am I dedicated? Stupidly? But yeah, I had this idea a year ago. We tried to film Sleepy Hollow, and this genius idea in October of 2018. And I didn't do enough research, and we came here and we had some information, but we couldn't find Washington Irving's grave. And when you're doing a video on Washington Irving, you should find his grave. So I took time, learned some more information, and it was home for a while, obviously. So I'm like, you know what? Now is the time. I'm going to grow my hair super long, well, as long as it grew in a year, to be Rip Van Winkle in my yard to start the opening of this video. It's genius. Am I going to keep the hair? Yeah. So, obviously, this is a newer video. If you've watched other of our videos, you'll see I have short hair. In those old videos, usually at the bottom of the screen somewhere here, Joy does our editing. She puts the date in when it's filmed. Since this is a newer video, we're not going to do it. We filmed it more or less now, a few days ago, since you've seen it. So know from now forward, if you see a video and has a date, because we still have lots of old videos
oh my gosh, so many.
that we're going to be getting up over the next, I'd say probably about 5-6 months, about a year's worth of videos. And I have short hair and there's a date. It's an older video. If you see a video now, no date, Joe has long hair, it's a new video. So just going forth so you know if it's a new or old video.
Or sometimes we'll say the date now.
Yeah. So that's just if any of you were wondering, just wanted to share it with you.